Welcome to the Estacada School District's 90-day rollout. My name is Ryan Carpenter, and I proudly serve as the superintendent for Estacada Schools. And I'm so happy today to speak to our community, our parents, our students, our employees, and viewers from all around the country as the Estacada School District transparently rolls out its overall progress toward the strategic plan collaboratively designed by the Estacada community. Why do we do this? Healthy organizations consistently monitor critical data like the engagement of staff and satisfaction of internal and external stakeholders. Often this is accomplished with the use of surveys administered to stakeholders of the organization. The keys to these surveys is not the data itself. The key is how well leaders share the data with their staff and stakeholders, and how well leaders communicate the actions that will be taken based on the feedback from the survey data. This transparent communication process is what we call rolling out results. The better we communicate results, the greater opportunity we have to create a team approach in problem solving. Today's rollout represents the progress made from all school district buildings, departments, and systems toward the big aims of our strategic plan over the last 90 days. Twice a year, the Estacada School District conducts these rollouts to transparently share our improvement efforts using an evidence-based leadership methodological framework as we aspire to hardwire organizational excellence for our kids, our community, and our employees. The Estacada School District prides itself on its mission, vision, and values. And our mission is to equip all students with the knowledge and skills necessary to be resourceful and successful. Our vision is by the year 2030 to be considered a premier school district in the state of Oregon. And our values are to inspire, engage, and achieve. You see, all of us come to work each day and we want to have purpose, do worthwhile work, and make a difference in the lives of those we touch. In order to accomplish this, the Estacada School District works with our employees to create a great place for students to learn, for teachers to teach, employees to work, and parents to send their children for a quality educational experience. To accomplish this critical mission, vision, and values, we focus on the relationships. Education is founded on effective relationships between students, teachers, leaders, parents, and all school district employees. And failing to maintain a positive, productive relationship with key stakeholders can lead to negative public perception of the school district in the community, as well as a loss of enrollment as parents make different choices. In Estacada, our great team, powered by its employees, have created a standard of excellence that provides the backbone of the culture of who we want to be. A culture that walks the halls and doesn't just live up on our walls. And these standards are collaboration, respect, consistency, innovation, empathy, and perseverance. This is year 5 of our 5-year strategic plan. And inside the district's strategic plan contains 5 core pillars that the Estacada community has determined for us as its vision for success for its children. This rollout will share the strategies, data, and wins collected and improvements needed from each building and department in correlation with each of these 5 pillars. In Estacada, our improvement goal spans the course of one entire year, from January to January. This rollout that you are watching today focuses on the data that you see that represents our school year. I am proud today because each of our leaders will tell our story of the wins that we have harvested, the vulnerabilities, and share the strategies that didn't work, and communicate the adjustments our school district is making to improve results. All in the spirit of hitting the marks established by the Estacada School District community. It is your school district, and you have hired professionals to execute your vision for your schools. In order to hold ourselves accountable to the Estacada community and the elected executive board of directors, our schools and leaders have created scorecards that are aligned with the long-term goals of the strategic plan. Now, I'm proud to say that because of our school district's improvement mindset, the fact that we are pausing right now to analyze our data, our results, and our intentional strategies is absolutely excellent. Most public K-12 school districts do not perform this very work. As your superintendent, I believe that you are lucky to have a school district that is capable of making adjustments based on the data being provided to us real time. But that also means the responsibility is on us to make the necessary adjustments to close gaps, improve systems that aren't performing as we desire, and hold low performers accountable, and meet the benchmarks of our strategic plan. In this current scorecard that you see here today, there are 3 wins that I want to share and 2 areas that require intentional strategic adjustments from our entire school system. The first one I want to share is our student success pillar. 77% of our entire K-12 student body has demonstrated proficiency in 100% of their essential learning standards. That's an increase of 5% from this year to last year. Now, while that may not seem like a lot, that equates to 85 more children who are now performing at grade level and were previously not. This is closing gaps at its finest. And while we're not quite at our goal, we celebrate each and every kid that we get across the finish line. Inside this student success pillar, we also saw last year an 84% graduation rate. We currently have 85% of our freshmen who are on track to graduate, which is a 24% increase from this year to last. And now, 158 more students are passing all of their classes than from last year, which represents a 24% increase year over year. Our students are truly making better academic progress and are in better academic shape than ever before. This is our greatest accomplishment that I'm excited to share with you today. I'm also extremely proud to share that the Estacada School District has hit its benchmarks goals in student engagement. In our 5 years executing this strategic plan, this is a benchmark goal that we have always come close to, but never hit it. I am so proud to report to our community today that in year 5, we exceeded our improvement goal. A lot of this recognition is thanks to our phenomenal employees and the positive relationships that they have established with Estacada's kids. We have recruited and retained so many great educators inside our school district. Our priority this year was to develop a deeper partnership of co-ownership of learning in the classroom between the students and the educator. You will see evidence throughout the remainder of this presentation of what intentional strategies we are implementing to foster that collaborative work in each and every classroom throughout our organization. The data, both qualitative and quantitative, have been clear that this specific improvement work is truly making a positive impact in student engagement. And the last one I'd like to share is I'm excited to tell you that the Estacada School District has had 0 audit findings for now 4 years in a row in our annual audit. We want to be great fiscal stewards of the community's money. This immaculate financial record now has the Estacada School District eligible for some financial awards, which we will be applying for this coming year. I'm so proud of our ability to maximize public funds to accelerate the mission, vision, and values of our great community. It's also important that as your superintendent, I share critical improvements that are also needed. We have some student data that is concern to our leadership team that will require us to make some immediate adjustments. The first is inside our employee engagement pillar. We care deeply about our great employees, and we want the Estacada School District to continue to be a best place to work for all who invest their careers here. You can see in this scorecard that we fell short of our goal and are slipping ever so slightly in a downward projection. Some feedback that we have received from our employees that have correlated to this dip is the temperature inside the classrooms during the early fall months. Student behavior escalations have also caused these scores to fall. This year, more employees have been hit, kicked, spit on, and aggressive than at any time prior to the pandemic. The school district is working currently on intentional improvement strategies to support our employees who support our most vulnerable and complex student populations. Again, our school district is transparently sharing with our community the wins, barriers, and next steps of our intentional strategies and actions to achieve these results. In year 5, we still have great room for improvement, but here are some systematic adjustments that you can expect from your school district over the course of the next 90 days. For the remainder of this rollout, we will break out our wins, barriers, and next steps for each strategic plan pillar and each building and department. I hope you see evidence of just how serious we take this feedback and the strategies we use to improve it. I am first excited to introduce Scott Sullivan and Jennifer Berman, our directors of teaching and learning, who will share our progress in the student success pillar. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, I'm Scott Sullivan, Director of Secondary Schools, and today Jen Berman and I will be sharing with you the teaching and learning update for the student success pillar. Win number 1 that we'd like to share with you today is dealing with our PLC efficacy survey results. Our original goal for the year was to score a 3.96 mean score. Our efforts have led us to score a 4.06 for the year. Strong improvement, but we want to make sure everyone knows that we are not going to let up and we're going to continue to raise the bar as we work further to increase the efficacy in our PLC work. Our second big win that we wanted to share today is the district services survey. Last year, we scored a 4.54 on this survey, which is quite remarkable to begin with, and we set a new goal of 4.54. And this year, our final score was a 4.67. I'd like to think that our team, made up of our instructional coaches, Ms. Berman and I, and Dilma Harrington, have done a great job serving the district. One of the key things in student success is dealing with student achievement. We did not meet our goal of 100% of our students meeting proficiency in every one of their essential learning standards. However, we did reach the level of 77%. This is an increase from previous years of 68 and 72%. Going to mark that, we're putting that as a win, not because we've reached our goal, but because of the continuous improvement and growth that we are experiencing. However, you'll see when we talk about further work and next steps, we're going to continue to work on that goal. We do have a number of barriers, and I will just start off with saying that we did not meet our 100% goal. We still have 23% of our student body not meeting 100% of their essential learning standards, and we need to continue to grow in that area. Our PLC teams are continuing to struggle as well in trusting one another. So we're going to do all that we can this year to try to up that trust in each other and do what we can to support them. In addition, there still seems to be a communication gap between families and schools and how well students are doing in school. Our department will continue to work on our video series on standards-based grading and PowerSchool, and we hope to bring that score up much higher in the future. And finally, our PLC scores continue to lag behind other areas of our Leader Action Plan. Even though a 4.06 mean score is good, we would like to bring it up into the 4 or 5 areas with the rest of our scores. Now I'd like to introduce Jen Berman, who will talk about our next steps.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I'm Jennifer Berman, the Director of Elementary Schools in the Teaching and Learning Department. I'm excited to share with you our next steps in our continuous improvement work. So one of those big pieces, as Mr. Sullivan said, we're working on upping that PLC survey score, and part of that is how we support our leaders, our principals, in the PLC work and holding those PLCs accountable. So we're going to look at some evidence-based questions and data that we're going to put into a system-wide accountability piece so that we're collecting the right data at the right time and supporting our PLCs the way we want. So we'll work with our leaders in making sure we put that system in place. Another big piece is we're going to continue to look at our readiness indicators, our ELS proficiency, our work completion, and our attendance. Those are 3 big indicators that we track regularly. And weekly, we will support our buildings as they continue to address their systems of support. So as we put systems in place to make sure that the work is being done and held accountable to the things that we find important and want to make sure we focus on, those are areas that we're going to continue to focus on and look at regularly so that the work gets done. Another piece that we want to help support our principals and leaders in is a system of accountability to our essential learning standards, which is part of those readiness indicators, but also our instructional materials that we have adopted and gone through the adoption process to. How are we holding accountability and high rigorous instructional practices to that? And then also looking at our continuous improvement best practices. So we've created a rubric as a leadership team. We're going into classrooms, we're providing feedback on that. So holding accountable through walkthroughs, through feedback, all of those things are important to the work that we're doing and are going to continue to do to hopefully increase those scores that we're looking at. Thank you so much. We look forward to these next steps and also continuing with those barriers that we have. And as the student success pillar, we appreciate your engagement in this process and look forward to the next 90 days.
Hello, my name is Jason Hobson, and I serve as the Director of Student Services for the Estacada School District. And today I'm here to talk about our inclusive culture pillar and our one-year fall-to-fall results. And this pillar is made up of 3 different surveys that are important to myself and the district overall. So we have the pillar made up of student engagement survey, where we're listening and capturing our student voice, employee engagement, where we are listening and our employees are providing feedback to us. And it's also our district services survey, where we are listening to each other and how we are providing services to one another. So I'm going to introduce student engagement and talk about the positives, the wins that we've received over this year, some of the barriers, and next steps. I also want to acknowledge that this is in partnership with 2 of my friends and colleagues, Kelly Hayes, who's going to talk about employee engagement, and Lisa Akins, who's also going to talk about our district services results. But to start off, I want to talk about student engagement. The reason that we're all here working very hard every day is for our students. And so this is a very important pillar topic and priority for the district is to listen to our students, capture how they're experiencing school, and then turn around and be able to provide better services and opportunities for them. Super happy with how our year-to-year, fall-to-fall student engagement survey went. Some of the wins I want to highlight is that our overall mean score improved from 3.94 to 3.98, which is growth. This is great. Our students are telling us we are on track. Our overall top box percentage increased from 38% to 39%. And that is the number or the percentage of students that are scoring us a 5 out of 5. So again, our students are telling us that we are on the right track. I want to highlight Clackamas River Elementary because they showed the biggest growth overall from a 4.27 to a 4.33, and which is a 0.06 improvement. That is amazing. Great job, Clackamas River. Another indicator of the great work that our leaders are doing is that our students told us that their principal is a good leader, and that had the highest score at a 4.37 overall. We also offer great opportunities aside from just reading, writing, and math, and our students told us that they enjoy art, music, and PE by rating us a 4.30 on that 1 to 5 scale. And this is a celebration and also an opportunity for us to continue work, is that students showing respect to each other has been a low score across the district for several years. I am happy to say that it is not the lowest score overall anymore, and so we have a new opportunity, and that is a win. I also want to just highlight a couple more quick things about this particular part of our pillar, and that 176 more students participated. One of the things that we set in motion last year with our students is to have them take more ownership with their learning. And our students this year said that they set their own learning goals and track their progress, improved in every school. So that question improved. I also want to take a moment to highlight Estacada High School and that they had 3 areas that showed large improvement. And students told us that their family is treated with respect. They regularly receive feedback from school about their academic progress, and I have opportunities to be successful at my school. Lastly, what we're all here working for is that students told us that at their schools, the overall across all of our schools, that they said, my learning is important at my school, and that was a 4.30. Our students understand the importance of their learning, they believe in the leadership, and they are showing progress in this pillar, which is great. At the same time, we also know that we have continuous improvement to work. We're never going to be perfect, and that's an opportunity to continue to work hard in this particular pillar. Students still feel that students being respectful and showing kindness to each other isn't the score that we'd like. So that's going to be something that's a barrier and something that we're going to continue to work on. It's a fact that students are still adjusting to coming back from a pandemic, and so that we're going to continue to work with our students and our staff on how to support students coming back to school on a full-time basis. We also understand that capturing student voice in between our formal surveys is important. So continuing to work on how do we authentically capture that student voice. And another barrier is making adjustments to our leader action plans based on data in real time between the surveys. That is another barrier. So thinking about those barriers and next steps, each leader and each school will continue to support students in being kind and respectful to each other. So keep doing the good work that we've set in motion. We also have an opportunity to work with our students and nutrition team on finding and delivering healthy and delicious food choices. Through rounding, feedback, and data, we're going to be better able to analyze our strategic actions and their implementation and the effects that they are having. We will continue to support and enhance social emotional learning opportunities across the district, whether that's in-house staffing and or looking at outside partnerships to continue to address the impacts of our students coming back from the pandemic. And lastly, I'm super excited about this, is that we're going to partner with Special Olympics Oregon to implement unified program in our school district, which is partnering students with disabilities and students without disabilities in activities, whether it be sports or other opportunities together. And that is, we believe, steps in the right direction. At this time, I'm going to invite my friend and colleague, Kelly Hayes, to come up and talk about employee engagement.
Thank you, Jason. And as he mentioned, my name is Kelly Hayes. I proudly serve as an HR coordinator here in the Estacada School District. And today I'm going to share with you about our employee engagement survey results. In employee engagement, we are currently at a 4.1 district-wide. This is a little bit of a dip from where we measured in the spring, which was a 4.16. We know there is still work to be done, and we have wins to celebrate inside these past 90 days. We had a 96% participation rate from staff, and that continues to tell us our staff see this avenue as an important opportunity for providing feedback. We also are proud to say we've earned the Top Workplaces Award for the 3rd year in a row. We know thematically our action plans have been centered around providing clear expectations for staff, and we are proud to share that our survey score in that question specifically has increased from a 4.1 to a 4.3. In our food services department, our team provided additional training opportunities through bi-monthly meetings. They worked hard to improve cascading communications and leave positive feedback for staff. The nutrition team scores in the expectations for judging my performance is clear, increased by a 0.26. They are currently sitting at a 4.36. Well done, nutrition services. Estacada High School also showed tremendous improvement in this score by 0.57 to a 4.43, and we are grateful for our leaders who took the time to listen to our staff and made adjustments based on the feedback they received. EHS created a summary document in alignment with our evaluation handbook that shows educators exactly what is expected in a simplified version. This one-page document also includes the agreed-upon expectations for student behavior, so all staff are in alignment with holding the same expectations for our students. Having everything on one page and leaving feedback right away is leading to increased transparency and accountability for all. Some of the barriers we have seen in employee engagement are that we saw improvement in some of our leader action plans, but not all of them. Gathering data continues to be an ongoing process and can be a challenge to find exactly what the right measure is. We continue to see positive feedback from staff along the way with the pulse checks, but when the surveys come out, the scores do not necessarily correlate. In the surveys, staff have the opportunity to leave comments, and thematically we have seen comments that refer to other outside events influencing scores that our staff have rated on these action plans. So what does this mean for our next 90 days? Next steps in employee engagement is addressing barriers and continuing the right work. It looks like being intentional in rounding, focusing on specific rounding questions to get to the root cause, digging deeper into our understanding of continuous improvement, and ensuring that our staff are on board with the why behind our work. We will continue hardwiring our always actions, the things that we know are working. Our teams have already begun the work of collaborating and building the micro-focused leader action plans, keeping it simple. We encourage specific feedback and being solution-oriented. And remembering a piece of our foundation in this work is to go slow, to go fast. This quote here, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend 4 sharpening my axe," tells us exactly this. Thank you to our amazing staff, building, and department leaders. Your work here in the district is something to be proud of. And now my friend and colleague, Lisa Akins, will present on district services.
Thank you, Kelly. My name is Lisa Akins, and I too serve as one of the HR coordinators here at the Estacada School District. I'll be reviewing the final portion of the inclusive culture pillar and the last 90-day cycle for our district services. Our 10 district services teams continually strive to uphold the 9 principles for organizational excellence. Over the last 90 days, our district services wins hone in on 3 of those principles. Principle 1, commitment to excellence. Principle 3, build a culture around service. And Principle 8, communicate at all levels. In keeping to our commitment to excellence by delivering the best possible experience, although dropping slightly from our spring pulse check, we need to celebrate our district services teams who scored an overall rating of 4.49 on the fall 2022 survey with an overall top box of 60.73% for respondents who select a very good or a 5 out of 5 rating. We're really excited about the 4.49, and we hope to continue to grow that over the next 90 days. To ensure communication is happening at all levels, our IT department has implemented Google Chat throughout the district as a new line of communication to increase the timely communication and decrease our email inbox traffic, which has been greatly appreciated throughout the entire district. As we continue to build a culture around service, our transportation department heard the need for more two-way communication. They implemented an electronic field trip request form that allows teachers to complete a detailed online form to request transportation and other needs for field trips. Not only is this a great way for our staff to be able to communicate the entire need of the field trip, it also routes the request directly to transportation department for the immediate attention. Once the request is received and processed, the requester, as well as the departments involved with serving the needs of the field trip, receive the confirmation, allowing the teacher to cross that off their checklist, knowing all is set for their upcoming field trip, and they feel confident they can count on their district services teams. Again, an overall commitment to excellence, building a culture of service while communicating at all levels. I want to shout out to all 10 departments for your hard work throughout the last 90-day cycle. As we move into our next 90 days, our barriers remain the same. Maintaining the level of service, data collection, and operations and timeliness. While the district services goal remains at maintaining a 4.51 level of service, how can we set the right leader action plans to maintain and increase the overall experience and level of service? The data collection for our leader action plans must be meaningful data. Is what we're measuring truly moving that service dial? Our overall mean scores for our operations and timeliness go hand in hand. Although they are strong ratings, how can we improve our operations in order to be more efficient and timely? Over our next 90 days, we plan on working with leaders to build strong, in-depth data collection measurements to make sure what we're measuring matters. I want to encourage district services teams to begin reviewing their department operations for more streamlined systems to increase efficiency and timeliness. I want to be more intentional and proactive to seek out opportunities of customer service, again, delivering the best possible experience for all stakeholders. Jason, Kelly, and I want to thank all the leaders for their great work their buildings and departments have accomplished, and we look forward to supporting you on your new leader action plans in the next 90-day cycle.
Hi, I'm Maggie Kelly, the Communications Director for the Estacada School District. Today, I'm going to be sharing some wins and barriers from the Engaged Families and Community pillar. I'll start with some wins. One particular win that I'm excited to share is our overall parent experience survey participation was higher this fall than both last fall and last spring. This is exciting because our parent experience survey is one of our main sources of information and feedback from families. So to hear from more families overall is exciting, and we are able to utilize the input of a broader community. Another win that I'm excited about is the statement, "I am proud to say that I have a child at this school," increased 0.05 from the spring. We are glad to hear that so many families in the Estacada School District are proud to have their children as a part of this organization. Another win is our nutrition services team really exemplifying how departments can engage families. They utilize Facebook as a platform and have over 400 followers on that social media network. And they're able to share updates from their department, meal changes, menu updates, and just really engage with families. Another win was Rivermill Elementary School, which saw a large increase in their lowest scoring item. "I regularly receive feedback from school staff on how well my child is learning." They increased by almost 0.2. Another win was the creative methods of communication that we're continuing to use to engage families with wide success. We utilize videos, Facebook Lives, Instagram. There are a lot of different platforms out there to get news from the Estacada School District, and we work hard to encompass a variety of different needs in how they hear from their child's school district. Now on to some barriers that we need to focus on over the upcoming 90 days. One big barrier is that our overall parent experience score has not seen an increase. Last spring, we were at a 3.96, and this fall, we are at a 3.95. We saw a slight decrease, but overall, we're seeing pretty stagnant scores. So there's a lot of disruption that's going to happen over the next 90 days to break through that stagnation and to really improve based on the feedback that parents are giving us in that survey. Another barrier is that our 2 lowest scoring items remain pretty consistent. Those items are, I regularly receive feedback from school staff on how well my child is learning, and I receive positive communication about my child from the school. Our schools have built action plans around these 2 lowest scoring items, but they remain our lowest scoring items despite those efforts. Another barrier is that a theme in our parent experience survey was that communication is at a level that contributes to overwhelm and fatigue. Our schools in our district are intentionally communicating a great deal to families, but we're losing some of the efficacy, and some of our communication is getting lost in just the sheer volume of communication. You'll see on this graph here, this graph is of Parent Square, which parents have told us is one of our most effective communication platforms. The solid line is the amount of communication we've sent out this year versus the dashed line, which is last year. You can see a clear increase this year. While I'm proud to say that our teachers and our schools are communicating more with families, we need to look at ways that we can streamline and potentially reduce some of that communication to the most important and essential communications for our families. So what are our next steps? Many of our buildings, as well as our district as a whole, will be doing rounding, facilitating discussions, and having focus groups with families to really identify what are the key pieces of communication that we should be pushing out to families, and where can we pull back a little bit to help out with that communication overwhelm. Another next step is that we have an opportunity to limit the platforms that we are using to communicate. We like having a wide variety of platforms that meet the needs of all different families, but we know that the amount of apps and communications that we utilize can be overwhelming for families as well. Another next step is that once we receive that input from families, then we can make changes accordingly and adjust our platforms and our methods of communication. And then lastly, I'm excited to speak about our strategic plan. We are in the last year of our 5-year strategic plan right now, and this is the direction for our school district as a whole. We engaged a lot of families in our last strategic plan, and we're excited to bring families to the table again as we build our new 5-year strategic plan to find out what families value about our district and what their vision is for our school district moving forward. Thank you for hearing some of the wins and barriers in our Engaged Families and Communities pillar.
Hi there, I'm Mike Ware, Executive Director of Operations for the Estacada School District. Today I'm pleased to present out our last 90-day report on the up-to-date buildings and facilities pillar. In the fall of 2022, we set out a score to score 3.98 on the My School is Clean question on the student engagement survey. Today, I'd like to talk about some of the wins, some of our barriers, and our next steps. Some of the wins that we'd like to highlight, our district score increased by 0.09 from spring to fall, which is a great success. We'll talk about some of the barriers because overall the score declined, but as over the period from spring to fall, we did increase by 0.09. Our average cleaning scores in the district increased from a 3.3 to a 3.5 last year, which is a great success. We're making more intentional actions to focus on our cleaning efforts both during the day and at night, which is showing some results in this data. We've completed a number of capital projects to improve teaching and learning, as well as to keep our schools clean, safe, warm, and dry. Some of those projects include our multi-million-dollar project at the stadium, artificial turf stadium, as well as some indoor air quality projects, as well as ADA projects for student services. All these projects do impact our student and teaching and learning environment. We've adjusted our staffing structure in the facilities department, and some examples is our facilities coordinator recognized that full FTE positions are harder to recruit and retain in our night custodians. Therefore, he made some adjustments to shorten the FTE to get more appeal from local residents, which has allowed us to be more full-time employed, full-time staffed, and ensure service continuity. Again, going back to the cleanliness of our facilities. And then finally, our schools and departments executed intentional actions to improve their scores. At CRE, or Clackamas River Elementary, they focused on cleaning up the stage at the cafeteria multipurpose room, as well as the pod rooms within each classroom area. The high school gathered student voice to understand what fully is clean and what needs to be done within their school to be able to improve the score, which was a great process and was still working on getting their voice. Our Human Resources Department really focused on onboarding and leader support. From the moment they hire a new employee, whether it's a custodian, a teacher, a paraeducator, and or a cook, how are they supporting that person to success, and then supporting each leader to make sure that they're doing their job to improve the score. And then through our communications department, we've increased media, publications, and again, through posting of ads, we've been able to recruit better and to retain more employees. Some of the barriers, our efforts, although very intentional, still did not create an overall improvement. Perception of our students on what is clean means to them is a very big barrier. As mentioned probably later on, our high school students will have mentioned that, because the building is older, it's not clean to them. Our elementary students, again, it's very difficult to gauge their perception. We knew that we needed to make some more efforts in this area, and so this was a big barrier within this pillar in the last 90 days. Finding sustainable solutions at the high school, again, knowing that it's an older building, there's a lot of financial responsibility to improve different areas, windows, walls, ceilings, plumbing, and those things are big price items. So working with our students, knowing that there are certain little areas that we can get their involvement in to improve the overall perception was still a barrier, but we made some progress. And then creating ownerships within the students. How can we engage our students on cleaning and doing their part in the building and respecting the building throughout the process? So our next steps. We're exploring adopting a new indicator within this pillar. Instead of focusing on the My School is Clean question within the student engagement, we want to look at is the school clean and maintained on the parent satisfaction survey. We feel like this is going to give us some more concrete data. We want to poll our parents, and this is a great opportunity to bring our parents more into the buildings to gauge and assess the cleanliness and to maintain our buildings. Realign our focus on the overall strategic action. As we prepare to move into a strategic action process, 4 years ago, we created the strategic plan to up-to-date buildings and facilities that focus on these actions, developing and implementing a long-range facility condition assessment, provide priorities for the facility condition assessment to the bond, complete needs assessment for IT infrastructure, establish a methodology to address and maintain facility needs, and develop a plan to maintain and upgrade facilities. All these areas have been a focus and a voice of our community and our staff. So as we move into this next cycle, we want to make sure that we are focusing and this is our true north. And then finally, collaborate with our leaders to develop new strategies to improve this area, so improve our pillar. So what intentional, specific strategies that are measurable that can improve the area of the pillar overall. I'd like to thank you for your time, and that was my report.
Hi, I'm Christina Irish, the Director of Finance for Estacada School District. I'm here to speak to you about the sustainable and accountable finances. We had many wins this time, but the first and the foremost I do not have listed on here. It's that we as a department are relatively new, and so we are digging in and finding and adjusting the data. We're finding that what we have currently in place is not moving forward like we had planned and not touching our customers like we wanted. So we are excited to dig in and make adjustments so that we can be providing the best customer service. But the wins that I do have mentioned I want to go over. The first is our 2021-22 audit did not have any findings. This is the fifth year in the row, and we're very excited to continue moving forward with this. The next is this year we completed the annual comprehensive financial report for the very first time. This is very big because it provides a very transparent financials for our readers. And it'll also allow for us to apply for 2 different awards. And once we receive those awards, we will receive an opportunity for a better bond rating in the future. The next is we added FTE to our department, and this will allow us to redistribute our workload and meet auditors' guidelines of segregation of duties. This means that that multiple people will be able to check each other's work, and one person won't have full control. The final win is the district's commitment to Strategy 2, create reserves, and Strategy 3, alternate revenue source of the finance pillar. This has allowed the district to purchase turf field. We did that using capital projects funds. The majority of that fund was CET money, which is money from the city and the county that comes to us from permits in our area. This funding is only allowed to be used on capital projects in our area. The next is the purchase of mini splits. And also, we hired staff to address classroom needs. Both of these, well, the mini splits were used with one-time funding. And also, we found energy savings in that. The higher staff was used with general fund and one-time grant funds. We are very excited to be able to address and support our classrooms with these one-time monies. We did have barriers as a department. As I mentioned, we failed forward. We had strategies in place that were not working. One of the biggest one was our project tracking, where we were entering all of our projects and calculating how much time it took us to complete. While that was very beneficial to us as a department, it was not beneficial to our customers. So we have scratched that, and we are going to try to improve it so that our customers can track where their projects are going, and then it becomes a resource for them. The next is finding the best way to cascade the messaging for the why the district makes financial decisions. We tried this on multiple platforms, but we're still hearing that the why is not understood. And so just digging in and researching and getting that communication out there. The next, there are rules, guidelines, and other information that is needed in finance that can slow down the process. While this sounds like an excuse, I don't mean it that way. We failed forward in communicating what those rules and guidelines are. And so we're committing to being better at that communication. We don't have, as a department, written workflows or procedures on what we do day to day. For our next steps, we're going to identify different ways to share the district finance story. We're going to know our audience, look in different ways in how to communicate to each individual person at different levels, whether it's our employees, our superintendent, or to our students. We're going to use rounding to determine what our staff and community want to know. It's the people in the front line that know and hear the questions, so we need to get those and know how to respond. The next is to find different ways to share the communication. Is that going to be through rounding, maybe flyers, or use some of our communication platforms? But we're committing to get that message out there. In response to providing better customer service, we are going to work on having department standard responses. The first thing is we're committing to respond to emails right away. If there's something that is needed, we're going to ask, when do you need that by? And once we complete a project and turn it back to them, we're going to ask them, is this what you were looking for? And or is there anything else that we can do to help? We're going to continue to distribute our department workload. We're going to learn our different work levels and distribute equally, and then we're going to communicate what we do in finance and who does it, so our customers know how and who to go to for their needs. We're going to create videos to help staff with simple projects so they don't always have to come to us, but they're still welcome to. And then we're going to continue working on that project tracker so that our customers, once they turn something into us, they can determine and get the best idea when they can get it back. And we are going to work as a team to create workflows and written procedures so that when a requisition is turned into us, they know how long it would take to receive it. Or a contract is turned into us, they know possibly how long it will take to get it back. We're very excited and committed to being better and improving our scores and digging in and making change as a department. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Amy Mikesell, principal here at Estacada High School. It's my pleasure to join you today to be able to share about how the high school is doing. As you can see, our district and schools all have specific goals built around the 5 pillars of our strategic plan. On our scorecard, we make our goals, and then we periodically, every 90 days, check to see how we're progressing in those goals. As you look, you can see that there are great areas of growth, and then there are some areas that we still need to improve. The great thing about gathering this data is as you look at the overall numbers, you don't necessarily see the highs and lows, but as we dive into the individual indicators, it gives us a great place to start to look at what's going really well and capture those good things, and then in addition, look at those areas that we really need to work to improve along with our stakeholders. So some wins that we are celebrating here at the high school. Around student success, we are super excited about the work that we're doing in our 9th grade success team. We know that it is vital for our 9th graders to find success their first year of high school to ensure that they have an on-track graduation. Our current 9th grade success numbers for our on-track students are 85%. That is an all-time high for the high school, and I want to just give a shout out to the work that our 9th grade success team is doing to ensure great results. In addition, our class of 2022 has a graduation rate that we all can be proud of. One of the things that we've really worked on here at the high school is ensuring that we have data on the walls, that we are sharing the data not just in Power School with students and families, but we are having conversations about it every day with our students. As you can see, these are some examples of the data that we have displayed in the classrooms that students and teachers are using together to seek improvement. Another win here at the high school is we've really worked hard to create an academic athletic eligibility. And this is a new practice that we started last year, and we have seen great results ensuring that our student athletes are students first and athletes second. Our ELS proficiency, our essential learning standard proficiency, our goal is that 100% of our students are proficient in all of the essential learning standards that we've identified for as vital for them to be able to walk out of our high school being able to know and do. Last year, we ended the year with 76%. Now, I know it's not 100 or even 85, but it's still a great win, and a win that we have somewhere to start with and grow from. Students are using individual data trackers here at the high school. Again, that's something new that we're doing, and in a way to create some co-ownership of learning between students and teachers. So as you can see, students are creating a goal around their learning and then tracking their progress towards that and making adjustments as they go. In the area of engagement, we have 2 different focus areas here, our students and our employees. And as you can see, we have some really great growth with our student engagement results. And again, that's when you start to drill down to those individual indicators versus the whole mean score. So the staff demonstrates genuine concern for me was a growth of 0.20, which is huge, exciting growth. And when we've met with students through focus groups, they have shared that the intentional strategies we are using with one-on-one rounding, which is conferencing with students, is something that students are finding very valuable, and it tells them that they have a staff that cares about them. In addition, that I'm recognized for good work and behavior is another huge area of growth. We've been really intentional around student shout-outs and Student of the Month recognition here at the high school, and we can see that that work is paying off. And then a third indicator that I want to celebrate is I receive feedback from teachers about my progress. And again, those individual trackers that I showed you earlier, as well as the class data, are things that students have named are helping them feel good about the feedback they're receiving from their teachers. We really care about our employees here at the high school, and you can see through our employee engagement survey results, we have great celebrations. And when we've talked to our employees about what's going well, things that have come back is the collaboration that they are experiencing with administration as well as one another, the feedback they're receiving on the work that they're doing, and as well as just the genuine care and concern that is being demonstrated for them here at the high school. One thing I wanted to highlight was this is a plus delta and a PDSA. And this is one way that our teachers and our students are working together to be able to identify areas that need to be improved and execute plans to get better. Again, another example of how we're capturing student voice on a regular basis in classrooms. Our yellow component is our parent engagement and parent satisfaction. And some of the highlights from our survey data, as well as conversations that we've been able to have with families, is they're appreciating the respect that they're receiving from the high school, the visibility of administration. In addition, our staff and administration know who their students are. Parents are seeing that, students are feeling that. Staff are open to suggestions and problem solving. Everyone across the board has been really appreciative of our Read Day edition this year, as well as our new high school schedule. So we have a different schedule this year that is really designed to try to cater to the needs of students, content area, and grades. I want to introduce our Vice Principal, Leah Rydell, to talk a little bit further.
Thank you. My name's Leah Rydell. I'm the vice principal at Estacada High School, and I just want to share a little bit with you about our up-to-date buildings and facilities pillar. Our students have reported really appreciating our new athletic facilities, including our gym, our turf field, and also the new sound system that we've installed in the Commons. This supports our student council and the many activities that they're trying to provide for our students at different times of the day. Additionally, through staff rounding, we've been able to identify necessary requested materials to help support teaching and learning in all of our classrooms.
Great. Well, I'm glad we were able to highlight a lot of the wins that are occurring here at the high school. And in true transparency, the data tells us that we definitely have some barriers to address as well. And as we look at our student success pillar and the work that we're doing there, we've been able to identify several barriers that we're still working through. For example, attendance. We're still having a difficult time getting students here on time, ready to learn every day. Our credit deficiencies through the COVID pandemic, we all know that that's taken a toll on our students, and so we're working together to figure out how to best meet the needs of our students to ensure they're ready for graduation. Academic mindset and apathy, that has been something that we have, again, is a post-COVID experience, and so we as adults in the building are trying to figure out the best way to serve students and how they present to us now. In addition, how are we differentiating our instruction? How are we meeting those intervention needs for our students? And the social emotional learning needs that are a new reality for us here at the high school, or a different reality. In regards to our student engagement, our lowest indicator has been for the last 3 years that students at my school are respectful to each other. As we talk to our students, and especially through focus groups and rounding, students have some ideas on how to help make that better, and you're going to hear that in a moment. But that's definitely an area that we've been able to identify through those student-to-student interactions, a lack of empathy, kindness, and respect. With our parent engagement, we are facing the barrier that it's difficult to figure out how to best reach our parents. And so that lack of engagement and two-way communication is a barrier that we're experiencing and trying to work through. The communication that around our standards-based learning and reporting, how to best communicate where students currently are in their learning and the plans that are in place to get them further. We're still navigating that collaboration with parents. And then just the varied needs and preferences as we've gone through a couple of rollouts here of this data with parent engagement, how to best understand what parents are looking for from our school.
In regard to up-to-date buildings and facilities and sustainable finances, one of the things we're addressing and working on is the student perception and community perception around older facilities versus not clean facilities, and helping our students take more ownership around caring for our facility that we have here at Estacada High School. Out of these focus groups has also come the need and desire for updated facilities, continued work toward our heating and cooling, electrical, etc., to improve our facilities.
So with these wins and barriers and the feedback that we receive from our stakeholders, we've identified our next steps. And so this is where our leader action plan comes back around and into play. So we are implementing a new evidence-based PLC rounding. So this is how administration and our instructional coaches interact and support our interdisciplinary departments here at the high school. We're also implementing a new multi-tiered systems of support, so really utilizing the data that we have through our success indicators, which is attendance, work completion, and essential learning standard proficiency, along with behavior data to specifically identify which students are struggling, where they're struggling, and identify ways to bring in additional supports to get them to where they need to be. Around our engagement, student voice has really told us that they want community building events. They want more of the Spirit Days, more assemblies, and our student council this year has done a phenomenal job of helping support this work, and so really continuing to carry this forward. In addition, working with staff and students on interrupter skills against hate and disrespect to directly support students in that respectful indicator that we have from our data. And then with our parents, we're making some adjustments in how we're communicating with our families. And so focused weekly communications that will alternate between progress reports bi-weekly and then a more student-centered communication so that parents have a better understanding of what's happening here at the high school.
Additionally, we're going to continue to listen to the needs of our stakeholders to help us determine next steps.
Thank you for engaging in this work with us. We really look forward to being able to share out how we progress through ensuring that our high school is meeting the needs of all students.
Hello, Estacada Middle School families and students, as well as the Estacada community. My name is Ben Hargrave. I am the principal at Estacada Middle School, and it's been an honor to serve in that position for the last 6 years. I'd like to introduce Mr. Greg Kelly, our school's vice principal.
Hello, everyone. As Mr. Hargrave said, my name is Greg Kelly. I am the middle school's vice principal. I have served in this role for 3 years, and it has been an honor as well. Although I work hand in hand with Mr. Hargrave on all of the actions and pillar work we'll be talking about, the two areas that I work primarily on are the areas of student engagement and up-to-date buildings and facilities.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kelly. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to present to you our scorecard, the middle school scorecard, as we take time to reflect on what has gone well and where we have opportunities to grow to continue to serve our students and serve our community. This image that you see now is our school's scorecard. And as you can see on the far right-hand side where there are scale ratings, the colors red and orange indicate that we fell short on all of the strategic actions and goals that we have set. That doesn't mean, though, that we haven't made growth, nor does that mean that there is many opportunities for us to celebrate hard work being done by our community, our students, and our staff. Some wins to start off with. Although we did not meet our goal for student success, we have seen huge gains in our students' proficiencies throughout this last year. 24%, or 101 students, when you compare 2 years ago to last year, are now proficient in all essential learning standards. This is a great indicator of growth, and we are continuing to see that positive trend this school year as well, as represented in this graph. The pink line is this school year to date, and the orange line is last school year's data. The downward trend is a positive implication. It means less and less students are not meeting our expectations. The indicator with the highest two-year growth is I enjoy specials or electives. And I'd like to take a moment to recognize our music teacher, Miss Christina Lauramore, for all of her hard work, as seen in this picture with her choir. Miss Chloe Dorgan, who is our art teacher, who is doing a collaborative discourse activity with students in advanced choir here. And our manufacturing teacher, Mr. Maruka, who is seen here with our students in the workshop preparing to weld. Our ability to provide students with electives that are engaging is helping to include our students and increase that sense of belonging that we aspire for all students to have at Estacada Middle School. The most one-year growth that we have that we can celebrate also is I believe school rules are enforced consistently. Since 2018, the indicator, I regularly receive feedback from school staff about how my child is learning, has been a regular lowest indicator. I'd like to celebrate that that is no longer the case. As a school, we have aligned our arrows and we are weekly sending home progress reports to our families. The data suggests that this system that we have put in place is leading to our families being more informed about how well their child is learning. In 2021 and 2022, as we worked alongside our students, many of our students told us that they needed more outdoor seating space, places to be during lunch and recess, as well as some updates with water bottle fill stations. And we have done all of that with new water bottle fill stations and outdoor seating at Estacada Middle School. I'd like to thank our maintenance and facilities team for helping to install those resources for our students. We are also publishing visual representations about how much money we are spending on students, how much money we are spending on staff, and how much money we have not yet spent. This image that has just popped up is as recent as late November, and it shows the money we have spent on staff versus students versus not spent. This transparency helps us ensure that we are putting money and resources where they need to be. And although we have much to celebrate, there are many barriers that are standing in our way too. Firstly, the development of our students' reading and writing, as well as our staff capacity to support reading and writing, is something that we need to pay more attention to. This image right here is a representation of each department's achievement to date. And if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see that our language arts achievement in that core class is the lowest of all core classes. The expectation is high, and we need to work together as an entire staff to improve our students' literacy skills so we are meeting grade level standards. I believe that students are nice and show respect to each other at school is a 3-year lowest rated indicator in our student engagement survey. The strategic actions that we are taking are not yielding the results that we would expect. This pie chart that you see here is published from one of our strategic actions, which is for students to nominate their peers for being respectful. You can see that many students are celebrating each other. However, despite that celebration, we are not seeing the results that we want to see. That's a barrier that we need to dig into more. The overall surveys of parent satisfaction is on a decline, and that's something that we need to overcome as well. Ensuring that our families are confident in how our school rules are enforced is something that we need to work through. School cleanliness is something that also was on our minds. Both parent and student surveys results indicate that they do not believe our school is clean. And lastly, despite our transparency with finances, we are not seeing any positive indication in that survey for that indicator. Our next steps are exciting. What we are looking forward to doing is changing how we intervene during the school day for our students. And we're going to be adjusting our flex period to a 1 week quick, timely, or just-in-time intervention based on student outcomes from the week prior. We're also going to be digging into specific times of day that students have told us that students are not nice nor respectful to one another, which is typically during passing time in the middle of class. This image is from a rollout that we've done with students that helps us dig into and be more surgical or micro-focused on how we can improve that indicator. We also need to create a system to communicate teacher-to-student praise to our families. We celebrate our students often during the school day. However, our families are unaware that this praise takes place. And so as we have worked with our families, they would like to know more about our day-to-day PBIS point system, student of the month systems, and how we are recognizing our students for their efforts in academic growth and achievements. We also need to work on the facilities and help our students keep our school clean, as well as adjust the perception that our school is clean. Students have told us that bathrooms, bleachers, and under the tables in classrooms are specific spaces where our school is not clean. And so as we work with our facilities department and our custodial team, we'll be digging into those indicators as next steps. And then lastly, in regard to our financial transparency, how we are allocating resources and what is expected from our departments and our teachers and our staff is needing to be more clearly defined at the middle school. And so we are looking forward to taking those next steps as we improve our school systems. It's an honor to serve our students. It's a joy to have them walk within our halls. I am so proud of the academic growth that we have seen with our students, and I'm thankful for you, our community, and what you do for your student at home. Thank you.
My name is Christina Anderson, and I have been serving as the principal of Clackamas River Elementary for the previous 3 years.
And my name is James Wolf, and I'm the vice principal at Clackamas River, and this is my 2nd year there.
Today, we're going to take some time to go over our strengths and barriers as we look towards moving towards our goals for the following year. This fall, we used our data from your engagement surveys to fill out our scorecard. As you can see, we've had some big wins and also some areas where we are looking towards improvement. For our wins, we see that with our student success, we have continuous improvement alive and happening at CRE. There's evidence of it as you walk into every classroom. Student data lines the walls showing growth and the achievement of our students. For our inclusive practices, throughout the continuous improvement model, all students at CRE have access to high quality, grade level instruction. 370 students participated in the survey that we put out this year. Their voice captured our biggest wins as my principal is a good leader, which was a 4.64 out of 5. My teacher cares about me, which was a 4.57 out of 5. And learning is important at my school, which was a 4.5 out of 5.
Next, we had our parent engagement survey that had 111 participants. Our biggest wins were my family is treated with respect at this school, which was a 4.28. My child is learning is a high priority at school, which was a 4.27. My child has the necessary classroom supplies and equipment for effective learning, which was a 4.27. And as you can see here, this is our agreements that some classes have agreed upon, which is helping with that culture in our building.
In order to improve our building scores and our up-to-date facilities, we have cleared clutter and out-of-date materials from the building. Students compete weekly for a golden plunger and golden tray, which is helping to build accountability for respectful use of the cafe and bathrooms. And our parent survey indicated an increase in my school is clean and well maintained from a 4.23 to a 4.25 with this survey.
And we also have on here, which is contributing to our clean school, is our school-wide agreements, which all students' voices have been captured. And you can also see our golden tray, and the golden plunger that is awarded each week. We also have CRE parents indicate that they have the materials needed to meet or needed to learn with a score of 4.27 out of 5. My child has the necessary classroom supplies and equipment for effective learning, and the scores on the parent engagement survey. And here are our barriers.
All right, for our student success, our biggest barrier is that we do not have 100% of our students at proficiency. And as you know, that is our goal, and we will continue to build plans and work tirelessly to move mountains to get all of our students there. For our inclusive culture, despite a 0.29 growth from a 3.61 to a 3.9, students are nice to each other at my school continues to be our lowest score. In our parent survey, we continue to see feedback, both positive and achievement, as a low score on that parent engagement survey.
And for our buildings and facilities, we have our classroom temperatures create an uncomfortable environment for students to learn, and we are focusing on those pieces in the moment. Right now, we're taking care of those pieces, so we're seeing some great improvement in those areas. And then the next one is employee engagement scores show both my principal supervisor provides me with good processes and resources to do my job, and the district manages district finance effectively in the bottom 3.
Okay, our next steps at Clackamas River, we are going to continue to work through the continuous framework and maturity model to build engagement and ownership in student learning and success, knowing from what we've seen in the evidence we collected that this is going to give us the proficiency scores that we are looking for. For inclusive culture, we are going to continue to work with our current systems and double down to increase the results. We know it's working. We've seen those results coming, but we want more of it. So now we need to work harder. Kindness Ambassador program is not just a thought anymore. It's been implemented, and our students are being deployed as part of our everyday systems. And Fly 5 will be taught 2 times a week to every child. As far as our parent engagement survey, we are going to be pulse monitoring, and focus groups are going to get started to understand what kind of feedback would most effectively communicate student successes and feedback about academic standing. All staff will begin writing positive postcards at the start of every staff meeting.
And for our buildings and facilities, we're going to continue to remove that clutter and unused furniture to make our facility, stage, and other areas accessible for all. And we're going to continue with our weekly competitions to promote student buy-in. That's the biggest piece. We want students to be a part of this with us. The next piece is build a system to ensure staff have resources regularly used stocked in accessible spaces at CRE, and then provide the necessary supplies to complete the sensory room at CRE as well.
We look forward to seeing how all of these ideas come to light and monitoring their progress as we move forward into our next cycle.
Hello from Rivermill. I am Corinne Johnson, the new principal this year.
Hi, and I'm Trevor Searing, the vice principal at Rivermill Elementary.
Here's a copy of our scorecard, which reflects our targeted goals for the last year in relation to the district's strategic pillars. A green score indicates we exceeded our goal, and anything below a 3 indicates the need for further attention and improvement. In the next slides, we will take a closer look at our wins, barriers, and next steps. Here we want to draw attention to our wins and celebrations. In the Student Success and Achievement pillar, we have seen continued academic improvement as reported by our student success with their essential learning standards. Through the past 3 years, our students have increased the percentage of mastery by 11%, and as of December, 74% of our students have shown mastery of their essential learning standards for the 2022-23 school year. A major component of our intentional ELS work has been done through our PLC process. Our new staff have reported that their professional learning community has helped them to quickly acclimate and feel they were a productive member of the team.
A win in reference to our collaborative and inclusive culture is that from the last cycle to this cycle, we had an increase of 14% of our student body participating in the survey. Our highest score at a 4.63 was I enjoy specials or electives, and so that was PE, music, or library. Students also believe that their principals are good leaders with a score of 4.57, and students felt that their family was treated nicely and with respect with a score of 4.51.
When it comes to engaged families and communities, families have reiterated what their students shared when it comes to feeling respected at this school with a score of 4.5. They are proud to have their children attend River Mill and believe the entire staff genuinely care about their child.
A win with our up-to-date buildings and facilities was this last summer. We had a consistent custodial crew who came in and did a tremendous job and did some deep cleaning and began to organize, some previously cluttered areas. Also, we have a student focus group that has helped us to identify what clean looks like.
When it comes to sustainable finances and accountability, last spring, our leadership team supplied staff with professional development to help provide a more clear understanding of district spending and the parameters around how various pockets of money can be spent, providing more knowledge about how decisions are being made. Okay, with our lens on continuous improvement, we know it is important to reflect upon and learn from our challenges as well. When it comes to student success and achievement, and looking at our student achievement data, we noticed that there was a discrepancy between our essential learning standard reporting and the data reported from the state testing scores. We want to understand how to align the two in order to better predict and support student learning outcomes. Our PLC teams shared that they have the desire to work on holding each other accountable for the kind of results that fuel continual improvement through meaningful data conversations.
In regards to strong, inclusive, collaborative culture, even though there wasn't an increase in progress made from the last cycle, students are reporting that one of our biggest areas to grow in is to be nice and show respect to each other, and that received a score of 3.78.
For engaged families and community, although we continue to improve when providing feedback to parents, we need to better understand how parents want to receive feedback and at what frequency so we can better meet their expectation.
In regards to the up-to-date buildings and facilities, one barrier that we noticed was carving out specific time to consistently meet with our student focus groups and then pinpointing their perspective on what clean is. And on the screen, you can see that we've already started that process by identifying some pros and cons about clean in our school.
With sustainable finances and accountability, and when it comes to district spending and meeting the needs of our staff, we want to clearly understand what needs that affect their immediate work environment are not being met so that we would further maximize their performance. Now that we know where we've been and we're looking ahead to our next step approach to make everyone's experience at River Mill even more positive. So when it comes to student success and achievement, to help our students further extend their learning, we will further integrate our continuous improvement work in a way that brings more understanding and ownership of the learning to our students themselves. Our PLC teams want to use the strategy of sending reminders so they know what to have ready to discuss during their intentional meeting times.
With our culture within our school, our next steps is that we are going to continue buddy classes, which is essentially one of the older classes paired with the younger class, with an emphasis on peer recognition and what peer-to-peer problem solving looks like. We will also implement a random act of kindness week throughout the next 90-day cycle.
Okay. For engaged families and community, staff want to provide feedback to families and are seeking and will continue to send positive communication to every family in a variety of ways, as well as report students' progression toward essential learning standards on a consistent basis.
When we look at our up-to-date buildings and facilities through the next 90-day cycle, we will be awarding the cleanest restroom, the cleanest cafeteria tables, and the cleanest classrooms each week. We will also create some videos of what areas look like within our school and what they look like clean, and having our student focus groups help us monitor that.
And lastly, with sustainable finances and accountability, our leadership team will continue to cascade financial information to staff in a timely manner. We will also keep rounding a priority to ensure we understand their immediate needs to allocate funds accordingly.
Thank you for listening to this presentation, and we look forward to the next 90-day cycle. Thank you also for your continued support. And as always, go Timbers.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Fulmiter, our elementary instructional coach, and I'm going to share some wins, barriers, and next steps in our elementary world. Our first win is last school year, the 2021-22 school year, we had 91% of our K-5 students meeting all of their essential standards. So every standard that gets entered into PowerSchool, we were at 91% proficiency. Big win. Another win is we are continuing to improve and get better at the data we are collecting. We measure what matters, and we are getting better at measuring what we most want to know. A challenge that we have is our data for essential standards on our dashboard included standards that were not separated into math and language arts. So we had behavior standards, art standards. So we wanted to narrow that down into just math and language arts specifically. So that was a barrier for us. Another one was that not all of our PLC teams at the elementary level were recording their language arts data. So we had a few teams that were just focused on math, and we wanted them to be focused on both math and language arts. So for me, my next steps is we are going to support our PLC teams with that data entry for both math and language arts and help guide them in having effective conversations about the data and way to improve their student outcomes. I'm also going to provide professional development, support, and guidance for continuous improvement with our PLC teams, our classroom teachers, and also our students.
Hi, my name is Rachel Perry, and I am the instructional coach at Estacada Middle School. Some of the wins that we've experienced this year is that our teachers have now fully embraced the idea of visible data living on their walls, and they make it come alive by discussing that with students, going over the data, and how that relates to their own personal success to set goals together. They also have had these visual data charts, have led to productive plus deltas with students to determine not only their own barriers, but the barriers in the classroom as well, and the barriers on the assessments. So they are able to communicate with their teachers what they need and what is working for them in individual periods to help teachers make adjustments to improve student success as well. These wins with the classroom data walls and continuous improvement work with students have led to a 24% increase of student success from spring of 2021 to spring of 2022. So in just a year, 24% increase in student success. That's amazing. A barrier is that when we are running our PDSAs, teachers are often saying, am I doing this right? And we don't want them to think that way. We want them to fail forward and continually taking risks to help student success in small cycles. Sorry, I forgot that word. They're continually evaluating if an activity or lesson has gone well anyway. So my next steps are to help teachers practice that PDSA comfortably and realize that, oh, I do this all the time. I'm just looking at the data to help me decide if I'm being effective or not with this strategy, and how I can adopt it, abandon it, or adjust it. Here are some of our data charts that we have used. We've used bar graphs that are separated by color to help students see where they're at. We have bump it charts where students can move up through the numbers to help increase not only their confidence, but show their peers how they're all succeeding. We have plus deltas where students have shared what works for them and voted on what they're going to do next to improve. And then here is our PDSA cycle where we're tracking our work
and making sure that the data is in the forefront of our decisions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kate Dean. I am the instructional coach at Estacada High School. We've had a couple of wins over the past 90 days, one of being that the majority of students at Estacada High School are now tracking their own progress towards proficiency of our essential learning standards using either a digital or a paper tracker. This tracking has resulted in frequent goal setting as students receive feedback, make improvements on their work. And ultimately, we've seen this work contributing to the overall growth in our essential learning standard proficiency evident in our dashboard indicators in that data. A second win is the high school has a 9th grade success program that this year has implemented both a link crew and a daily 9th grade success class for every 9th grader. This has resulted in 85% of our 9th graders on track as of December 2022. Couple barriers we've encountered as when doing this work. The first is we've recognized there is a continued need for social and emotional learning supports, especially with our 9th graders as they adjust to an 8-period day and a rotating block schedule. Another barrier that has come up is we have not found an efficient system to provide students with academic intervention in a timely manner. So we've had read days this year. Previously, we've had built-in time into the day. And we're still trying to work through what works best for our students. As far as next steps, our building will continue to work on creation of a tiered intervention system to use at all levels, not just through our 9th grade team. And we'll also continue to develop social emotional learning lessons for use in all of our 9th grade success classes as a way to continue to support our 9th graders as they transition successfully into high school.
Hi, my name's Sarah Lawson. I'm the transportation coordinator for the Estacada School District. And I'd like to go over my data with you on our 90 days. This is our scorecard, and as you can see, there's some improvement that needs to be had. All of our scores were down by an average of 0.07. We're working on them and plan on getting them back up. Some wins that I have to share. In student success, we got the opportunity to do our first PDSA as a group. And we decided we wanted to tackle our buses getting to the secondary schools on time. So we set up, we worked together, we came up with a plan. And within the first week of working on the plan, we were able to get our secondary students to school 8 minutes sooner. By doing this, this enabled them to get their fuel to start their day, stop in to talk to a teacher, or just feel ready. So we were really proud of that one. Our second success, which is in the strong and inclusive culture, as a department, we decided that we wanted to reinforce positive bus behavior. The drivers have handed out over 70 rewards to students as a reinforcement for this behavior. Drivers are catching the students who are being kind, respectful, and responsible and giving these students small rewards. It's just a way for us to reinforce the behavior for the students and give them kudos for what they're doing. In the engaged families, the transportation department has called, emailed, and spoke to over 95 parents about their student successes on the bus. As a part of the parent engagement program, we wanted to talk to parents and let them know that how proud we are of their students and how well they're doing on the bus. It's really gone a long way to build a relationship between the driver and the parents. So we're really proud of this one. In up-to-date buildings and facilities, we've had the opportunity to add 3 vehicles to our fleet to better serve our students in the community. One of those vehicles is a specialized transportation bus to serve our students with special needs. And the other 2 are 2 brand new district SUVs. This will help us facilitate out-of-district students one-on-one kids that we have to drive out of district. And so this is a huge success for our department. Next, in sustainable finance, We created opportunities for guest speakers to come and cascade information on finance expenditures and grant rewards at our weekly team huddles. This has been a big help for my team. It keeps them informed and understanding of what's going on in the district. Next up, we're going to talk about a few barriers that we've had. In student success, staffing issues have plagued the district's transportation department. We are no different than any other of the districts across the country, and this issue has created challenges in serving our students at times during the school year. In strong and inclusive culture, our main barrier has been opportunities to focus on capturing positive student behavior. Students are on the buses for a very short amount of time, and this makes it a challenge to capture those moments, to hand out those rewards, to see students being good. In engaged families, we've noticed that there's scheduling conflicts. As our drivers reach out to parents to inform them of their student successes on the bus, we are finding that parents are unavailable to speak with the driver. They're at work the same time we're at work. So that's an obstacle that we plan on tackling in the future. Up next is buildings and facilities. Our major issue has been supply chain issues, just like the rest of the world. We've had major holdups when it comes to receiving the stuff that we need. Normally when we order a bus, it takes about 6 months. Our last bus took 14 months. Our supply chain issues don't stop there. Parts for our buses can now take weeks or months instead of days. And last but not least, in sustainable finance, cascading the desired information along with the why. Finding a balance between what the transportation staff wants and needs to be informed on without overwhelming the team with all the district's financial information. Finding that balance between too much and not enough. On our last slide, we're going to talk about our next steps. In student success, we are going to explore different techniques on how to reinforce and retain employees. We need to think outside the box. We need to set ourselves apart from other districts. Our transportation advisory team is working on new ways and ideas to do exactly this. On student success, on how to capture those small little moments and reinforce what the students are doing, we're going to start training sessions on how to intentionally and quickly recognize positive student behavior. In strong and inclusive culture, we are researching different ways to communicate with the parents to get around those scheduling issues. Some of the things that we're looking into is Parent Square and text message. Up-to-date buildings and facilities. Our mechanics are creating a database of all the parts on hand and entering the description and part numbers into the database. By doing this, we should be able to track and reorder frequently used parts and eliminate the wait time. Lastly, sustainable finance. We're creating a cascading communication plan that makes all district financial information available to the transportation team. Thank you for listening to my data and my report. I look forward to the next 90 days.
Hello, my name is Christy Cheshire, and I serve as the Estacada School District Director of Technology. This is the Information Technology Services Scorecard, and as you look at the scorecard, you can see that there are some opportunities for growth and that there are some wins to celebrate. What were our wins? We had the techs did 90 roundings with staff in the buildings with teachers, paras, secretaries, etc. These roundings resulted in 32 work tickets. And the positive theme that came out of these roundings was that the response time with the techs was very quick. We also had feedback that our ticket system was a little bit confusing to the user when it was kicked back. So we created this response that's automatic. It's a word bubble that's called out in red so that it's visible from all of the other text. And it also gives the user the opportunity to create an instant calendar invite where they can schedule a support session with one of our techs. Our average initial response time this round was 1.1 hours. We completed 99% of our responses were under 24 hours. This cycle, we completed 2,649 tickets and the average resolution of 2 days on those tickets. This was a really big win for us because 2 points, we had a 28.5% increase of tickets during the same time from last year. And we also improved on our resolution time by 2.4 days. The district was awarded $255,118 in federal grants. The technology department purchased new Chromebooks, iPads, laptops, hotspots. We coordinated single mode fiber install at the high school, and we also worked to install wireless systems at River Mill and Clackamas River Elementaries. We implemented this year a student access to our ticketing system. Students actually created 384 tickets, and also they filled out 6 surveys giving out a score of 5 to 5. In Incident IQ, we are now managing all district assets in one location, and we've also implemented a device audit policy for service and replacements. This is our student interaction with our ticketing system. You can see that they submitted 384 tickets. The average response time was 0.9 hours, and the average resolution time was 7.3 hours. And you can see a comparison between incoming and closed tickets on the data point. Some of our barriers are location transition and quick access to equipment. We had a need for some essential system realignment. We really needed to refocus on our what does right look like. Our communication systems, ease of connecting with the technology staff was a barrier. Scheduling time with student interns and the new location where we work out of and the students' new scheduling. Managing expectations and providing more consistent, clear, and kind communications to our stakeholders. We felt that the wins were not as available to the stakeholders as they should be. We also need more student voice while building the student KB articles. And like most other departments, we experienced supply chain issues at the start of the year. We had consistency in transition issues from spreadsheets to the Incident IQ system that were also part of our systems alignment. One big theme for our barriers was consistency. Our next steps, we're going to maintain boots on the ground, tighten our systems alignment with clear expectations, and work to collaborate for central work location in elementaries. We're also going to establish and implement cross-training plan of action between our techs. We're going to do a ticket audit system so that we can determine which tickets are high priority and would require KB article representation for the user. And we're going to reestablish our communication norms. We're going to implement a tech communication newsletter and work with students to collect student voice. We also are going to organize our inventory for easy access. Our tech department will be creating a social media presence. And we also are going to work with our student interns to collect student voice. We want to implement a student-driven project to build a student-level KB database, which is a knowledge-based system. We also are going to implement tech communication newsletters to engage staff regarding district technology grants and purchasing so that we can also assist the district's plan of cascading information. Are you too busy to improve? And the technology department is not.
Hello, my name is Kyla Portwood, and I'm the Nutrition Services Coordinator. Today we'll be reviewing the Nutrition Services data. This is our nutrition services scorecard. So here you will see that we have some pillars reflect positive change and some reflect opportunities of improvement. In the next few slides, we will be going over some wins and some barriers and some next steps. So some of our wins was we were able to collaborate with over 86 students, and that gave us an opportunity to find out what they were interested on our menus and how they felt about the facilities themselves. This particular individual, he was very proud of what he had served on his tray for that day and gave us feedback that he does very much like our homemade lasagna. Another win is on our continuous improvement plan. We are consistently looking for opportunities of new and engaging trainings. And here we are at the Oregon City School District. We were able to collaborate with them to do a walkthrough of their facilities and watch a meal service. They serve over 500 children at that particular high school. So we were able to learn how to make things more efficient and add some items like our nacho bar to the menu. Here was also a great opportunity we had. We reached out to the Estacada Fire District, and they came out and they gave us some live training on fire extinguishers because about 60% of all house fires or facility fires are based in the kitchens. Our staff were heavily engaged, and as you can see, this is Deb spraying away at the fire. It was a lot of fun. And we have also been able to reach over 400 families on our Facebook page. Through our Facebook page, we send out things like the images I just shared with you of our trainings and our students. Another win is that we had 0 findings through our health inspections. And that is the county coming in and looking through all of our kitchens to make sure we are safe and sanitary and any other things that they feel as if we need to work on. Fortunately, we did not need to work on anything. And last, we were able to receive a supply chain assistance grant of over $35,000. And that helps us to procure local and fresh foods just to bridge that gap between the supply chain issues. And some of our barriers were transitioning to paid, free, and reduced lunches after 2 years of going through free-for-all in COVID. It was hard to communicate that out to families, and we're finding other ways to do so. Another one was our in-person trainings. It was a little difficult communicating and connecting with some individuals that would either come to us in person or we could go to them in person. And we were also having some trouble communicating out menu disruptions. And those menu changes are due to multiple barriers like staffing shortages, supply chain disruptions, and equipment failure. So as we change the menu, we are hoping to communicate that out a little bit faster. Another barrier that we're seeing is the lack of interest in our substitute position. We have been seeing a lot of staffing challenges due to illness, and the more substitutes that we can get in, the more consistent our menus and facilities could be. And last, our barrier is our out-of-date equipment. As you know, some of our buildings are older and some of our equipment are out of date. Our next steps is that we will continue to connect with our students and our community to collect information on what they are looking for on their menus and department improvements. And then we will identify some programs and some events to keep our staff educated. As the nutrition guidelines continue to change, it is important that we stay current with those. Our team is also working hard to create a more consistent platform communication so that we can get those menu updates and all of those trainings out there to you. We will also be continuing to focus on a clean, organized, safe kitchen and a well-maintained cafeteria for the environment of the students. We will also be diligently looking for nutritional grants, and that way we can continue the progress in which we are doing in our department. As a department, we will continue to lead the way in filling our students' nutritional needs for their educational success. Thank you.
Hello, Estacada families. My name is John Simpson. I serve as the facility coordinator for the Estacada School District. Welcome to the facilities maintenance portion of our 90-day rollout. As you can see, this is a copy of my scorecard as it relates to our last 90 days. We've got some great wins as well as opportunities for improvements. Going to start off with some of the wins we have in the student success pillar. Work orders have gone up by 120 compared to this time last year. Preventative maintenance has gone up by 40. We've completed 534 general requests, 93 preventative maintenance, with a total of 627 work orders completed by our facilities team in the last 90 days. Inclusive culture wins. Leads are tracking the numbers of student shout-outs on our PDSA wall, with an average of 14 documented shout-outs per day, which is about 70 a week, and 280 positive interactions with students monthly. Our engaged family wins is, as of December of 2022, 93% of work orders are completed in 7 days or less. All emergencies requests have been completed within 24 hours, but typically, most cases, they are done within the same day. Up-to-date buildings and facilities, December 2022, we're averaging a 4.04 out of 5 for our district cleaning score. Finance wins is the communication tactic that I used did not work, so it's a fail forward. I need to devise a different way to communicate the district spending as it relates to facilities. Some of the barriers I've had over the last 90 days is in student success is getting buy-in from leads. They need to take the time to add those cleaning scores. We've worked through this challenge, and now all leads are entering data into the system daily. Inclusive culture is once again getting teams from 2 different shifts for our monthly meeting. It's really hard to get everyone together when you have a team that works from 6 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Engaged families need to find a way to track this data as it relates to our work requests. We need to get more info on our work orders as they're entered so that we can add it to the right category for proper training, whether it's preventative maintenance or general requests or the emergency work orders. Up-to-date buildings and facilities, having my team add data every day. It's now going well after making it a little easier to enter those data points into the system as it relates to the cleaning scores. Our finance barriers are finding a different method of sharing the spending data. I'd rather the staff read it from me rather than going off district rumors. Some of my next steps in student success is maintaining what we're doing. What we're doing is working, so we're going to continue to do so. Inclusive culture, I need to find a way to set monthly meeting times that work for both day shift and night shift, even if I'm holding 2 separate meetings each month. Engaged families, we're going to maintain what we're doing. As of December of this year, 93% of work orders are completed within 7 days. All emergency requests are done within 24 hours. Again, most cases they're completed the same day they're entered. Up-to-date buildings, we're going to, as of December of this year, we're averaging a 4.04 cleaning score district-wide. This is 84% cleaning rate. We're happy with that. We're going to maintain what we're doing. Finances, I need to communicate the whys along with the data monthly via emails and remind staff that we're spending as well. Sharing more graph charts to see if it's a better communication method. Thanks for listening to my story as it pertains to our last 90 days.
I just want to recognize our tremendous leaders for their incredible work in sharing their journey, their stories, harvesting intentional wins that are fostering our school district, that are move in such a positive upward trajectory, but also vulnerably sharing some strategies that did not work and things that we're going to adjust right now in an effort to make a different data-filled impact to support our students, our employees, our parents, and our culture. I'm just so proud of their work and the work that they're doing to improve each and every corner and facet of our great school district. I hope that you can also see that from starting now, 90 days later, we're going to come back to you again to share the results of what we've done and our hope to intentionally improve this school district and hit your strategic benchmarks inside your community's school district strategic plan. I also want to share with you, like I said at the beginning, that this is year 5 of a 5-year strategic plan. And I'm so excited to engage our community later this spring and share in totality how we did over the course of 5 years with your school district and what we can do for the next 5 years as we chart the course of our next strategic plan. I'm so excited to engage with so many community stakeholders as we continue to make improvements, because at the end of the day, the Estacada School District wants to be considered as a premier school district, not only in the state of Oregon, but most importantly, in the eyes of our local community. Thank you so much for watching. It's a great time to be a part of the Estacada School District.